Since Repair Clinic encourages you to perform this procedure safely, a warning icon will appear when you should use caution. Many KitchenAid refrigerator repairs will require some disassembly of the appliance. To fully disassemble and reassemble the refrigerator, you will need a 1/4-inch nut driver, a magnetized 1/4-inch nut driver, a Phillips head screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, a small flathead screwdriver, a T25 Torx bit, a 7/16" wrench, 2 thin putty knives, and painter's tape. Before you begin any disassembly, be sure to unplug the power cord. Shut off the water supply as well. To access dispenser components, apply a strip of painter's tape directly below the dispenser interface, as well as along the left edge. Now insert the 2 thin putty knives to pry the left side and bottom of the interface away from the door, and you can then pull the top edge free. Slide out the retaining clips securing the actuator paddle wire connectors. Then disconnect all 5 wire connectors to fully remove the interface. To remove the actuator paddle housing, first lift out the strainer. Then use a putty knife to help remove the tray insert. Use the 1/4-inch nut driver to unthread the 2 screws securing the tray. Set the tray aside. Now unthread the 2 upper screws securing the actuator paddle housing. With the screws unthreaded, push the housing down. Apply painter's tape to the door on the left and right sides of the housing. Use the putty knife or knives to release the retaining tabs to detach the housing. To reinstall the actuator paddle housing, feed the paddle wire connectors through the holes in the dispenser separator and snap the housing into position. Slide the housing up and replace the upper screws. Reseat the tray and thread the screws to secure. Replace the tray insert and the strainer. Remove the tape from the sides of the actuator paddle housing. Reinstall the dispenser interface by connecting the wire connectors to the appropriate terminals. Secure the actuator paddle wire connectors with the retaining clips. Insert the upper tabs on the interface into the slots in the housing, then snap the bottom into place. Remove the tape. If you need to replace the ice auger motor, open the ice compartment door and pull the retaining lever forward to release the ice bucket assembly. Use the Phillips head screwdriver to unthread the 4 screws, securing the ice chute. With the screws unthreaded, you can lift the ice chute out. Lift out the auger motor drive shaft. Next, use the magnetized 1/4-inch nut driver to unthread the 4 screws securing the motor to the housing. Lift up the old motor and disconnect the wire connector to fully remove. To install the new ice auger motor, first connect the wire connector, then set the motor in place. Thread the 4 screws to secure. Having a magnetized 1/4-inch nut driver will make the procedure easier. Set the auger motor drive shaft into place and position the ice chute. Secure the chute with the screws. Reinstall the ice bucket assembly. To uninstall a refrigerator door, use the Phillips head screwdriver to unthread the screw to detach the appropriate upper hinge cover. If removing the left side door, you will need to lift up the clasp and detach the dispenser water supply line. Disconnect the wire connector if applicable, and unthread the screw to release the grounding wire. Now, using the T25 Torx bit, unthread the 2 mounting screws securing the hinge. Have an assistant help to hold the door in place as you remove the hinge. If applicable, remove the left side hinge bushing to detach it from the wires and water tube. Detach the hinge itself from the wires and water tube if necessary. You can now have the assistant help you to lift the door off the center hinge to remove. Reinstall the refrigerator door by positioning it on the closing cam on the center hinge. If applicable, confirm the mullion heater flap is closed, then close the door and hold it in position. If applicable, feed the water tube through the upper door hinge, then push the wires through the slot in the hinge. Reinsert the wires and tube in the bushing, then insert the bushing into the upper hinge. Reposition the hinge on the door and cabinet, and thread the 2 mounting screws to secure. Reconnect the wire connector if necessary, and reattach the water supply line. Secure the grounding wire with the screw, if required. Realign the hinge cover and thread the screw to secure. If you need to remove the glass shelves from the refrigerator, lift the front of each shelf up, then detach the bracket tabs from the shelf support to remove. To uninstall the rest of the shelving and drawers, first pull the platter shelf forward and lift the platter shelf glass up from underneath to remove. Open a crisper drawer, reach in, and push the crisper cover glass up and forward from underneath. Close the drawer and remove the glass. Now fully uninstall both crisper drawers by pulling them forward, then hold the side support brackets as you push the drawers back to fully detach. You can now lift up the entire platter shelf and crisper cover assembly and pull forward to remove. To remove a crisper drawer glide assembly, lift up the front of the assembly and pull forward to remove. The pantry drawer components can be fully uninstalled by opening the pantry drawer and lifting up the pantry cover glass from underneath to unseat it, then set it aside. Pull the drawer forward, then hold the side rails as you push the drawer back and lift up to remove. You can now lift up the rear of the pantry cover glass frame and pull back to detach. To reinstall the pantry cover glass frame, first align the damper arm with the slider control, then set the rear of the frame into place. To reinstall the pantry drawer, confirm the slide rails are pulled out, then insert the support bracket tabs into the slots in the side channels of the drawer, and push the drawer in. Set the pantry cover glass into the frame. You can reinstall both the left and right crisper glide assemblies by aligning them on the liner's rear mounting posts first, then lower them onto the front mounting posts. Continue the reassembly by repositioning the platter shelf and crisper cover assembly in the refrigerator. To reinstall the crisper drawers, pull the slide rails out, then insert the support bracket tabs into the slots in the side channels of the drawers. Reinsert the crisper cover glass in the space between the platter shelf and crisper cover, and push back until the glass is fully seated in the cover. Realign the platter shelf glass in the frame. Finally, reinstall the glass shelves by hooking the upper bracket tabs into the appropriate slots in the shelf support, then lower the front of the shelves. To uninstall the refrigerator's ice box, first open the water filter cover and remove the water filter. Use the 1/4-inch nut driver to unthread the 2 screws securing the upper cover panel. Detach the panel and disconnect the LED light wire harness to fully remove the panel. Use the small flathead screwdriver to release the retaining tabs to detach the icebox cover. Disconnect the heater wire connector to fully remove the cover. Using the 1/4-inch nut driver, unthread the 2 screws securing the icebox. Disconnect the main icebox wire connector, as well as the ice maker and heater wire connectors. Use the small flathead screwdriver to pry the waterline retaining bracket free. Use the 7/16" wrench to depress the retaining ring to release the ice maker fill tube from the dual water valve. You can now fully remove the icebox to access the ice maker, the fill tube heater, and gaskets. When the repair is completed, reinstall the icebox by aligning the 4 retaining hooks with the notches in the upper liner, then push the box straight back. Rethread the 2 screws to secure. Fully insert the ice maker fill tube into the dual valve port and secure the line in the retainer. Reposition the waterline retaining bracket. Reconnect the ice maker and heater wire connectors, as well as the main icebox wire connector. Reconnect the icebox cover heater wire connector. Then align the top edge of the cover and snap the bottom of the cover into place. Reinstall the upper cover panel by first reconnecting the LED light wire harness. Align the 3 rear upper cover panel tabs with the housing brackets and snap the panel into position. Rethread the 2 screws to secure. Reinstall the water filter and close the cover. To remove the upper and lower freezer drawers, use the small flathead screwdriver to pry the left slide rail tab away from the liner, enough to release the drawer stop. Do the same to release the right drawer stop. With the stops out, you can fully remove the upper drawer. Next, use the 1/4-inch nut driver to loosen the 2 screws securing the drawer front. Lift the drawer front off the drawer glides and set it aside. You can now lift the lower drawer up and squeeze the sides in to release it from the glides. To uninstall the evaporator access panel, first use the flathead screwdriver to help pry apart the retainer clip so you can slide it to the left. You can now lift the shaft up and out. Using the flathead screwdriver, depress the 3 retaining tabs inward to release the freezer outlet duct. Depress the retaining tab to release the temperature sensor cover from the panel. Detach the sensor from the cover. Using the 1/4-inch nut driver, unthread the 4 screws securing the evaporator access panel. Remove the panel to reach components like the evaporator fan motor and the defrost heater. To uninstall the evaporator fan motor, use the magnetized 1/4-inch nut driver to unthread the 2 screws, securing the fan motor housing to the rear liner. Pull the housing forward and disconnect the 2 upper wire harness connectors. You will now need to detach the 2 grounding clips. Disconnect the 2 defrost heater wire connectors. Then detach the defrost thermostat from the evaporator coil to fully remove the assembly. To reinstall the evaporator fan motor assembly, first snap the defrost thermostat onto the evaporator coil. Connect the 2 defrost heater wire connectors. As well as the 2 upper wire harness connectors. Attach the 2 grounding clips to the evaporator housing. Now position the evaporator fan motor housing and rethread the 2 screws to secure. To reinstall the access panel, partially reposition the panel, allowing enough room to seat the sensor wire in the upper left notch. With the sensor in place, fully position the panel and rethread the 4 screws to secure. Snap the sensor into place in the cover, then align and snap the cover into place on the access panel. Realign the outlet duct on the panel and snap it into place. Confirm the shaft retainer clip is on the shaft. Insert the left end of the shaft into the left side gear. Position the right end of the shaft in the right side gear and snap the retainer clip into place to secure. Continue the reassembly by aligning the lower drawer on the glides, making sure the rear hooks are secured under the glides. Then set the drawer in place. Reposition the drawer front on the glides and tighten the screws. Reinstall the upper freezer drawer by aligning the rear rollers on the track and the front rollers on the lower drawer, then push the drawer in. Snap both drawer stops into place to secure. With the reassembly complete, turn the water supply back on. Plug the power cord back in, and the refrigerator should be ready for use.